Good afternoon or good morning, everyone. As you come on into the room, please feel free to turn on your camera or leave it off. I am going to ask you to keep your mics or yourselves muted until we have time to ask questions and make some comments, because we don't want to hear any of the background noise. Come on in, enjoy yourselves, welcome. If you want to introduce yourselves in the chat, that would be great. As we move along and let people into the room, and more people will be coming in, we had about 23 people RSVP'd today, so lots of people will still be coming in. My name is Seth Kamen, and I am one of the co-leads of the Tech and Transfer Conference. My other co-lead, Dr. Wendolyn Davis, is going to be a few minutes late. She got called into a meeting. And we all know what happens when you get called into a meeting. It lasts until it lasts. So we will we'll be going through today just a couple of informational slides about the AACRAO meeting and about how to submit a session. We'll also go ahead and give you some opportunities to meet each other and perhaps even find ways to collaborate. So as people come on in, feel free to introduce yourself in the chat. You're welcome to either have your video on or off. It's totally up to you. We do ask that you mute yourselves until you have the opportunity to ask some questions, and we will be taking questions through the entire event, but we don't want any of the background information being lost to other sounds. Very good. Looks like we have people from all over the place. UMES is University of Maryland Eastern Shore. I happen to know that one because I'm in Maryland. So wonderful. We've got Virginia, we've got Maryland, North Carolina. We've got an East Coast contingency going on here. Canada, Denver. I was just talking about Denver because the annual meeting is in less than 5 weeks in Denver. Sandra, you got to make sure it doesn't snow when we're there, okay? I know you have that availability there. Florida, fantastic.
No promises,
huh?
No promises.
No promises. No pressure either at that one. Very good. All right. Well, we're going to go ahead and get ourselves started. Don't want to waste too much time. We did this presentation a couple of weeks ago, and it took us about 20 minutes. So hopefully you're going to get some time back at the end. I won't tell your bosses if you don't tell my boss. And you'll be able to take that 40 minutes or so and go grab yourself a cup of coffee or do something other than listening to me chat. Again, my name is Seth Kamen. I'm one of the co-leads of the conference. My other co-lead, Dr. Wendolyn Davis, is running a bit late. She will be here. There she is. I spoke her name and she appears. Very good. Well, we are your co-leads for this conference, and we will be giving your presentation today. As the agenda says on the screen, we just want to give you some details, some information about actually developing a session. We're going to show you very quickly how to submit a session, provide you some additional information, and then have time for questions and answers, and for you all to network if you have any opportunities. So I am going to stop talking and pass it over to Wendolyn, who will go ahead and get our sessions.
And hi, everyone. Thank you. Welcome for coming. These are just some of the primary focus areas that we hope that our session proposals will cover. Of course, the session or the summit itself is virtual, July 11th through 13th. And I think, Seth, you talked about did you talk about the time? So we're so the timing of the summit is to address basically the entire country. So the day will start at 11 a.m., which allows time for anyone on any coast to be able to comfortably join and participate without it being too early or too late. And then they are set to end 4 to 5-ish, depending on final arrangements, essentially for the summit and for workshops. So these are the primary focus areas that we're looking at based on this particular theme of finding creativity in technology and transfer. So how are we utilizing resources? So, and I'm not going to read this for you. I know everyone can read this for themselves, but these are our primary focus areas. But we're also hoping that folks will be also creative in terms of the session proposals that you do submit. to fit within there. And if there's a really great topic, then we'll look at the great topics that you submit. So it's been that kind of day. So definitely exploring new topics. What is new out there? What are you doing that's different that someone else hasn't already covered? That's not a repeated topic. And I think we're all doing something at our institutions that other people are not doing that we can learn from. So showing how you do that, whatever that process or processes are, how they align with the strategic plan. Again, looking at what you're thinking about. What do you want someone else to learn from you? What is the takeaway? And you can build your session proposal on that. And again, looking for something innovative, some new ideas, some new methods, new processes, new software. As we want to also make sure that we are looking at both sides, the technology side as well as the transfer side. And we'd like to have a very balanced presentation. And I will say we've had additional conversation of focusing on veterans, military services for their families. So if you have sessions that are related to any of those things in the work that you're doing, we encourage you to submit those session proposals. And there is still time. So we still have time to get those proposals submitted. So, and because we're virtual, and I think we are probably, although we are virtual again today, we've come a little bit numb to the virtual world. So a good presentation is one that will still engage the audience, that includes conversation and feedback from your intended audience. You definitely don't want to focus on all the information just being on a PowerPoint, but being more interactive. In terms of how you present or how you are having those conversations. Your experiences is what we hope to gain from in this process. And so that other people are able to take away from what you're discussing, what you're presenting, and hopefully be able to implement it, or at least introduce the discussion of implementation at their respective institutions. So, and then again, it's going to be a 45-minute length. It could be a single presenter. You can have multiple presenters. Panel discussions have been really great lately. I tell you, I just came back from NISTS. And so panel presentations are just as engaging and informative as a single or double presenter, roundtables, workshops. We're really careful about corporate sessions. So if your presentation is going to talk about a particular software that you're using, we'll want to have that discussion so that it doesn't become a corporate presentation or corporate session, and it's more so from the user side of that software. So we do ask that no one present more than one time. And when we talk about the diversity of presenters on panel, it is important that we are representative of all of the people and institutions that represent the AACRAO body. So we are going to limit it to one person presenting, or one session per person. And with the last point, I would say, if you know of others who may be interested in presenting, if you've seen other sessions presented that you think would be valuable and specific to this theme in our focus areas, I would encourage you to reach out to them and ask them to submit a proposal. Or if you do happen to submit it with someone in mind, then that would be your responsibility to make sure that if that session were selected, that it could be presented. And then we give you our anticipated need for total sessions.
All right, thank you. So before we get into actually how to present a session, does anyone have any questions about what Wendelin just talked about? You can either throw the question in the chat, or you can just unmute yourself, raise your hand. We want to make sure that you're comfortable with all the information that we've just provided before we move on to more information. Let's take a moment, make sure nobody has any questions.
Thanks for opening it up. I do have a quick question.
Of course.
So I'm imagining that there may be some people who want to do a presentation and may have a theme or something in mind. Is there a way to either make yourself available to say, I have a topic, but I'm willing to partner with someone else, or to be able to see other topics that are being proposed, where you may say, I have something I can offer here, and to then try to connect with another presenter?
So we don't have anything formal. There's no formal way to do that. But if you let Gwendolyn and I know that you have a topic that you're interested in, we can pass it along to our advisory board, who are our main liaisons with all the people that we are working with to get sessions submitted or doing outreach on session proposals and ideas, et cetera. And we can start sharing that through our various networks within AACRAO and even outside of AACRAO in the organization, to see if we can find somebody to either present with you, or to perhaps present a counter to what you're presenting, or something of that nature. So absolutely, let us know what you're thinking, and either we'll come up with somebody and recommend, or we'll try and find somebody to do that.
Fantastic. Thank you.
And I would add to that too, is as we are reviewing session proposals, I always say submit it. If we find that there are session proposals that are very close to each other, then we may reach out to both sets of presenters and say, you both have presented sessions or submitted sessions that are really similar to each other. And that might be a way to connect with another person who is presenting something similar.
And I would actually agree with that, and then also add, if you want to submit your session, and in the description, put in, I'd like to find another person to present with me, because we'll be going through and reading every single one of those sessions. And that will also give us a clue that we might want to be able to help you out. So lots of different ways to do it, but we're here to help you find that other presenter. You might even be able to find somebody right here, right now, who wants to do it. So I maybe drop that idea in the chat, and see if somebody on the call has an idea, or is interested in presenting to you. There was a question about presenting this presentation meeting after the event. Yes, this is actually being recorded, and we're going to put it up on the website, but we can go ahead and email you the PowerPoint as well if you'd like. Happy to do that. All right. Any other questions before we move on? You can ask questions through the entire time. If you have something that comes to your mind at the end before we start, before we close up, you're welcome to do that as well. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the session entry. And if you've ever submitted a session to any of the AACRAO meetings in the last probably about 4 years, you've used our system. It's called Open Water. And it's basically just a 2 or 3 page form that you're going to fill out. And it's all done online. There's nothing you have to email or fax or tweet or do anything like that nature. And you are able to start and stop the process at all times. So before you get too far into the process, we wanted to share with you what information we'll be looking for actually submitting your session. Of course, we're going to need your name, the title and institution, the session title description. You're going to choose from one of the tracks, or you'll be able to choose other from that as well. You're going to want to be able to provide a brief statement about how this applies to the workplace, as well as how it is relevant to the theme. You also going to want to be able to identify your intended audience, both perhaps length of time, and then also who at your institution might be interested as well. You're also going to be indicating your availability to present. So if you can only present on the Thursday afternoon, you're going to want to make sure to be able to identify that as well. And then you're also going to want to be able to identify your additional presenters. You are able to go in and add other additional presenters after the fact. That's the one thing that you can do after you submit a session. But all the rest of that information is going to be needed as you present. So again, you don't need to have that all up front. You can start the session submission without it, but ultimately you're going to need all of that information. And it's either you can cut and paste it, or you can just type it right in. We'll do spell check for you. We'll do grammar check for you and all that. So you don't have to worry about any of that as well. So there we go. All right. So if you've used our system before, or it will probably be looking a little bit familiar to you, because it's not only where you submit your sessions for conferences, but it's also where you vote. So if you've ever voted for an AACRAO board of directors or NNE or any of those, you've used the same system. This is the URL for it. You don't need to worry about it right now, because it's linked directly from our webpage. So if you go to the Tech Transfer webpage, there's a big button that says submit a proposal. As long as that is blue and active, you will be able to submit a proposal. Our priority deadline is next week on March 6th, but that doesn't mean that we won't be accepting presentations after, because something is always coming up, something new. If there's a groundbreaking thing that happens at your institution in the middle of May, and you think it would be a great thing to present, let us know. We'll be able to include it, perhaps open up the session for you, etc. You will need your AACRAO credentials in order to actually access the system. If you're not an AACRAO member, that's okay. You can create a guest profile and submit. So you do not need to be an actual AACRAO member to present at the conference. In fact, sometimes those are the best presenters because you're giving us something completely different and new than what all of us are experiencing in the workplace. So, once you log into the account, you're going to see a screen that looks like this. I used myself and as example. Hopefully your name should say your name, not welcome Seth Kamen. If you signed in as me, please sign out because I don't want you submitting lots of sessions in my name. I can't do that many session presentations. You're going to want to go ahead and click the button that says click here to begin a new submission. And it should take you directly to the one for AACRAO Tech and Transfer. There is no other conference registration session proposal currently open. So you will not be able to accidentally submit one for annual or for SEM. Tech Transfer right now is the only one that is available and open. If you start and stop and you want to come back in, what you're going to want to do is go here and click to review your past submissions. That will take you to the ones that you started and that you'll be able to finish in the process. So click here to begin a new submission. And what you'll start seeing are the slides that are up on the upper right hand. So again, the Tech Transfer Summit. This information will automatically fill in because you've logged into the system. Our membership database and this system are linked. If there is something in this system that needs to be fixed, please go ahead and do it. If we have the wrong institution, if we have the wrong email, etc. However, that will not fix the information in AACRAO's database. You need to go ahead and reach out to member services, membership at AACRAO, to update the system on their end so that it automatically populates correctly in future things. So if you make a change on this page, it will not make a change in future pages because you haven't updated the master document. If you're submitting for somebody else, you're going to want to go ahead and remove your information and add their information. So if your boss says, submit a session for me, you don't want to put your name in because you're not the one that's submitting. Erase this and put your boss's name in and contact information in there instead. Because this is the person that's going to be the primary person that we communicate with to say you accepted, are you attending, did you remember to register, et cetera, et cetera. Always make sure to save. The bottom of the screen, it will say save or save and next. Save will just save it, save and next brings you to the next screen. And the next screen is a series of them. This is the best way I could do it in one shot. You'll see it a little bit better on when you actually log in, but this is where we're asking you the information that I presented on the couple of slides before. The title, the session type, the description, application, the theme, the program, etc. All of this. This all needs to be filled out. If there's a little red star next to it, it's something that is required to complete and actually submit the session for us to review. There is a date there, as I mentioned, and then you also just need to give us some information on whether or not there will be a presenter or not. And you'll see that is the one that is not starred. As I mentioned, you can always add that later on. Once you have filled out all of this information, you'll go ahead and hit the submit button, the save and submit button, and that information will then be passed along into the hands of our abled advisory board, who will be making the decisions about who is presenting and who is not, although we expect that we will be accepting pretty much everybody because you're all going to have such amazing topics and such amazing ideas that we want you to be included in the session. If you do need to add a presenter, this is how you do it. You go ahead and click add presenter. You can either search by name or email. What you're searching in this database is actually those who have already presented at an annual conference. So if you're going to present somebody who is new, they probably will not show up, in which case you probably will need to input their name directly. That's okay. You can certainly go ahead and do that without a problem. They will eventually be communicated with. So it's okay if you don't find their name in here. You can go ahead and add it directly. Once you've added it, then you'll see in that last slide that it's been added. I used Dr. Tina Deneen, our Associate Executive Director, her example. You'll see her there and it will show up as that. Once you've done, again, save and finalize, submit it, and we will receive all that information. And again, we will do spell check for you. We will do editing for you. If there's issues or stuff, one of us will be in contact with you for clarifying the information that we've received. Any questions on that process before we go into the last few slides? We try to make it as simple as possible. And Wendell and I have filled out multiple ones of these testing it, so it works. All right. So these are the important dates that you need to just be aware of. March 6th, as I said, is the priority deadline. Again, we will consider presentations up to and after that. The advisory committee will start reviewing and choosing sessions shortly after the session database, the first priority deadline. And by around March 24th, we hope to make the first round of announcements of who has been chosen to present at the conference. You will then have until May 1st to actually accept or decline the invitation, and that is something that will need to be done. We will start hounding you if that does not get done. And if by May 1st you have not communicated with us, then this session will be removed from the program. Wendell and I will both be at AACRAO's annual meeting in Aurora, Colorado from March 26th to the 29th. We will be walking around. We'll be at the AACRAO booth. We are happy to meet with you. If you have not submitted the session yet by then, and you want to sit with us and talk one through, we'll be available to do that as well. So really very excited to be there and to meet up. April 24th is when registration opens, and our website will be updated with that. In early June, we'll be in contact with you. We're going to go ahead and give you the PowerPoint presentation and start checking in, etc. And you will have to submit your PowerPoint presentation before the conference begins so that we can make sure that it's uploaded into the system. Because we are virtual, we'll be using a virtual platform, and all sessions will need to be submitted first so that they're available for you to access to actually go through and present. If you do need to make any changes after you submit those, that's okay. We can do updates the day of, but we certainly don't want to upload 50 some odd presentations the day of or the days of. So those are the really important dates for the conference. A few other really quick announcements, and then we'll be wrapping up here. If you do get chosen to present, you will get a 25% discount on registration. So congratulations. That'll be really great. We do not have a registration price yet, but that should be released in the next couple of weeks. We are still looking for a variety of workshops, and workshops are a bit longer than the 45 minutes. They're probably about an hour to an hour and a half. If you have a workshop idea, either in the technology or the transfer area, or one that combines the two, please let Wendell and I know, because we are looking for presenters for workshops and topics for those. As Wendell had mentioned, we do just establish a military veteran and family track. So again, we're looking for specific presentations in that area. And we have secured a mixologist who is going to teach us how to make some drinks, because by the middle of the conference, we're all going to need a drink. By the middle of the summer, we're all going to need a drink. We're not providing you with drinks. Let's just clarify that. We will teach you how to make them, and you will be able to then log off, and depending upon when your workday is done or not, depends upon your lifestyle, you'll be able to make a drink and enjoy it on behest of AACRAO. So we're also going to have a spirit day. So you're going to wear your school spirit one day, and we'll be doing things around that as well. So we're really excited. We're trying to make the virtual conference as exciting, interactive, and engaging as an in-person conference. And I think, Wendell, did I miss anything?
There we go. No,
There we go.
you didn't miss anything.
Great. That is the end of our presentation. Like I said, it was going to be about 20 minutes. If you have any questions, feel free to unmute or ask them in the chat. Andre, I see your idea there. We will be able to find you somebody to have a conversation about articulation agreements and best practices. No problems whatsoever. That is a very easy topic to find people about. I could probably drop 20 names to you without really thinking at the moment. So if you wouldn't mind actually shooting me an email, just to prompt me to do that, I will start making some connections for you and we'll be able to get you a co-presenter or two or three.
Sounds great. I really appreciate that.
Absolutely. So Melody, you popped up.
Hi, Seth. I am not a member of AACRAO, and
Okay.
a couple of people who are possibly presenting with me are also not. But
Okay.
I saw that we can submit as a guest.
Yes.
Then my question is, and you just said we don't have a registration cost yet. Do you have a ballpark? And is that then per presenter or for the owner of the presentation, and I could bring in another presenter?
I don't want to give you a ballpark
Okay.
because I don't want to be wrong. I can tell you it will not be $1,000, but it will also not be $100.
Okay.
It'll probably be somewhere in the range of $300 to $500 for the entire conference. Every presenter gets the 25% off discount, not just one. So if you've
Okay.
got 4 presenters, each one of them will get the 25% off.
Okay.
Yes, if one of them is a member, if one of them is from one of your community colleges. So if Rita's presenting from Nova, she is a member. So you want to make sure that each one of those are not individually members of AACRAO, because that then again saves money in the long run. It is cheaper to attend the conference as an AACRAO member than as a non-member. There is a difference. I will tell you that.
All right. Yeah, I'm at the system office, so I'm
Yep.
not, we don't have a blanket membership.
Okay.
So-
Yeah, you guys are doing great things. I was talking about you the other day with Heather Adams. So
Oh, yes. Fantastic. Yeah, I just saw her at NISTS last week.
you see
Gwendolyn,
Gwendolyn,
did-
she was there.
Yeah. I was gonna
Okay.
say, yeah, that was-
Were you able to get out safely? Obviously, you're back home.
Yeah, eventually Sunday or Saturday. I lost track of days, to be honest. I think I flew out Saturday.
I got really lucky and just left the hotel super early Thursday morning and was only 2 hours delayed on my nonstop flight.
Oh, wow.
I think I was the luckiest person there.
You probably were. Sounds like
you
it.
were.
Thank you very much.
Of course. And let us know if you have any problems in submitting. We can walk you through it.
Perfect. I've got your emails. Thank you.
Absolutely. Anybody else have any questions or thoughts, comments? We'll take the good. You can keep the bad.
I just wanted to verify, where was the submission site again?
The admission site is located on our actual website. Let me
Okay.
go ahead and pull that up, and I will drop that link directly into the chat for you. Give me one moment. I probably should have done that right from the get-go. You know what? It's easy to get to. The link I thought was going to take me there is not taking me there. So hold on one second. There we go. Here's my chat. There it is. All right, there's the URL right to the website on AACRAO. And you'll see right down there, call for proposals is a hot link there for that. And there's also a big orange purple button that says submit a program proposal. Melody, as you go through the process, it will actually go ahead and when you choose who you are and what you want to do, it will go ahead and ask you for a guest access, and you'll sign up that way. But if you have a problem, go ahead and just let me know.
It's prompting me for a username and log and password when I.
Yep, just
Right
below
up
it, it should say not a member.
Right?
Click on that.
Yeah, and I get a big gray screen with AACRAO in the middle of it.
Oh,
And it in white already have an account question mark, but I don't get a.
No, that's weird because mine went right through to create an account.
And this is, and Chrome is one of your preferreds, right?
I don't know. Why would I know that?
I think because it's in your frequently asked questions
Oh,
list.
there, I just dropped a chat. I just in the chat dropped a direct URL to the page that I'm seeing on my screen.
Let me try that.
And let's see if that
Oh.
bypasses all of it and
No,
goes right to it.
That's the same screen. All right, I'll try a different browser.
So weird.
It is
I'm
very-
using Chrome and it came up just fine using your URL.
So it's Melody.
It's me.
Yeah.
I'll
Sorry.
pay my cash.
You know,
Uh,
this is why we Marylanders don't go to Virginia, just for the record.
Oh, if we're gonna go there, I don't come to Maryland because of your drivers.
People are logging off. They don't like us anymore. I'm sorry, Dax, do you have a follow-up question?
no, I think I'm good. I've just you
Good.
just go in as not a member and then just
You
sign
just
in.
go in as not a member and sign up. It doesn't add you to any listservs. We're not going to sell your information. We're not going to take your firstborn unless you want us to.
I love
I don't know, my first one
them.
is working on 40. I don't know if anybody wants him at this point.
Mine's 5 and you can have her. All right, we're all just playing around. If anybody has any other questions, you're welcome to stay on. Wendell and I would do that. If not, thank you all very much for joining us. We appreciate it. We look forward to seeing your sessions. We look forward to seeing you at AACRAO Annual, and we certainly look forward to seeing you at the Tech and Transfer Conference.
Absolutely. Thanks.